The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Hi, and welcome to episode 9 of Planted with Sara Payan. I'm Sara Payan, your host, and today we have noted mixologist Warren Bobrow with us. We are going to talk about cannabis, mixology, all sorts of wonderful things in between. And as you know, it's always a conversation, and that conversation is always educational. So thanks for joining us. Warren, thanks for being on here today.
It's fantastic. You know, this is turning into it's a smile in the midst of chaos. So it does offer me something that is sorely needed right now.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, me too. It's good to see your face. I'm glad that we're doing this on video, especially with all this. Well, I don't like to say social distancing because I'm trying to be social, but the physical distancing, it's really hard on everybody.
Yeah, we are very social people, and even though I work for myself and I do most of my work when I'm not traveling right here at my desk where I am right now, so I'm accustomed to working in a secluded place. It's not surprising to me. My office isn't all that large, so I'm accustomed to it. But for people who are more type A personalities and like getting out and about all the time and seeing people and doing things, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah. I was actually just talking to somebody the other day about it. When I was going through cancer treatment and then getting better afterwards, I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies, or at heart. So but it was hard then, just being alone and being at home. I mean, I'd still get visitors though, but you feel kind of like Rip Van Winkle. And then now it's like people can't, like we had a friend who came to help us the other day, just put up a door, and we're like, sorry, thanks for helping, and sorry we can't invite you in. But you're like looking at him like, I want you to come in for coffee and I want to give you a hug, you know?
But you can't.
No.
You can't. And we just have to pay attention. That's all. I think we have to be mindful.
Yeah.
Of what it is. And when I just took a long walk, and while I was out on the walk, I discovered that many of the people that I came across gave me a wide berth.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't want to bring into effect the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but yeah, it really is in a kind of way. You know, it's I live, 5 miles from New York City, and there's total carnage there, and it could be two worlds, but you can imagine that it is like a scene out of Monty Python, the Holy Grail, because it really is happening in real life and in real time. And, you know, we're connected by our smartphones, and you can choose to live in a vacuum or in a tunnel, but it really is going on. So those of us who are empaths, you know, I try not to be, but I can't help it. And I know what's going on, and it's not that far away. And, you know, there's a major hospital just a mile and a half away from here, and you know, there's just terrible things. I try to keep things into perspective, and that's so. I was saying to my wife that she should buy a lottery ticket, because she stands a better chance of hitting that lottery. And if she hits that lottery, then we know that the numbers are right.
Yeah, true. I know it's Jeff and I have been holed up here in our place. And you know, it's easy to get into your own little cave and your own little rhythm. But I think one of the jarring things is like once every week and a half, I've been going out to pick up supplies at the grocery store, and just feeling especially last week, feeling people's anxiety. And, you know, you try to smile at people and keep your distance, but also just be supportive and reassuring.
Just be cognizant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, after I got home from that, I had to have a good little cry, pull myself back together, and just, you know, because the thing that frightens me is just all the people who are at risk. And we've already, you know, we've lost a lot of people already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people who are really deserving of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. And that's, I think, one of the things that I found disturbing on social media. Somebody who's in the cannabis community was talking about, you know, that it was nature and it was survival of the fittest. And I was like, I don't think I would associate with you.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
time to stay quiet.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to snooze you for a little bit and hopefully
Hmm.
you'll reassess what you're thinking.
Well, I don't mean to live life through Facebook, but I've really made an effort to cull out, certain individuals who feel that it's their God-given right to come to my page and tell me what they think about their Lord and Master.
Yeah.
And I've done a culling, and I will continue to. And I don't feel badly about it because it's my page and it's my world, and they're my friends, and many of them I know in real life, and I don't want to appear to be bitter or angry. I just cut them free.
Yeah.
There are other places for them to go, and it's not with me.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing too, because when you're hearing things that are upsetting on social media, it can be jarring and you can take it away
Overwhelmed.
with you. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
got to let it go because
Absolutely.
I'm always
Absolutely.
amazed at how people can be behind a screen.
Well, yeah, but they're also tightly hinged and tight, tightly wound. So I try to antagonize them that much. You know?
Oh, you're good because my fiance Jeff likes to talk back and then he blocks them.
Oh yeah, I do that too. I usually tell them how public is this? I usually tell them to go fuck themselves, and then I tell them to die in a fire or something. It's really awful, but I can't believe I said that.
It's really charged. I told somebody the other week, I was like, well, I hope you continue to prove your point by licking doorknobs. Tell me
Yeah,
how that
or
goes.
that young man who was on Twitter and he was licking toilets.
Oh,
I mean, that's a
jeez.
kink. That's a kink in itself. Why would he do that? I mean, please, I don't even want to go there. But he did, and he contracted. He was on like some sort of dare, and then he contracted the coronavirus, and suddenly his Twitter feed went down. Was suspended.
Oh,
Dude, grow up.
man.
First, I don't even want to go there. Why is he doing that in the first place?
Yeah, why would you? You wouldn't have done it anyway.
Really?
Well, I mean, unless that is your thing,
Unless that's your thing.
right? Oh, life in the time
And
of Corona.
that is, I wanted him to be from like Miami Beach or something. I don't know.
Oh
It's
my
fun.
God, I
Not
know.
that not that that's a bad place, but there's some really weird shit that goes on there.
Yeah, it's interesting times, man.
Yeah,
Has
like you saw, or the guy who ran for governor of Florida. At the sort of it left the news cycle. Gillum.
Oh no, I don't think I saw that.
He was caught in a hotel room with two male escorts. One of
Uh-huh.
them, his heart stopped because he was taking methamphetamine, and the other one was, incapacitated to some extent. And Gillum was caught in the bathroom throwing up. So he's not with his wife, and he's with two gay escorts in a hotel room at a very ritzy hotel on Miami Beach.
It's a place to be.
Yeah, it's the place to be, I guess. I'm not living a wild enough life.
Neither am I. Jeez.
Boy,
And they always say that
you
Californians are strange.
can't make this shit up. I mean, at least, if you want to get caught, be with one guy, but, not two. Please. Sorry, I cut off your picture. I apologize.
Oh
There we
no, you're fine. No, well, I mean, it's with everything that goes on in the world, it's like you don't have to make stuff up. The truth
Yeah.
is stranger than fiction, honestly.
This is stranger than fiction, absolutely, especially in what I do, because I came out of classical liquor, and the people that I've made cocktails for over the past decade run the gamut of blue jeans to black tie and everything in between. I taught at the Moscow Bar Show in Russia, and got an invitation to make cocktails at the top of the FSB building, which is like their National Security Administration. And my cell phone has never been the same ever since then. When it geotags China and Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really funny. And I'm white Russian.
Uh-huh.
My family came here, I don't know, from what I know, in the 1800s, and then some of them were left behind until the 1940s. And my grandfather's cousin, uncle, something like that, was hung as a partisan.
Whoa.
By the Nazis. So when I went to Russia and I came through customs, and I had a letter from the head of my company, which was a Russian company,
Uh-huh.
that I should be let through. The first thing he said to me in perfect English with these eyes, like steel gray eyes looking at me, he said, "Welcome back." Yeah, it was really wild. And I didn't know about my family until I came back because my grandmother lived to be about 105 years old, and she had a chance to tell me
Uh-huh.
because she asked me, why would I go back there? She said, why would you go there? And I
Yeah.
didn't know why I would. I was working, went to teach at the Moscow Bar Show, and I didn't realize the deeper family connection with being in Russia and my family member who was hung for fighting against the Nazis. And it was just really profound because when I came back and she explained it to me, she said, well, it was your grandfather's uncle or whatever who was hung. And that's why, because the people who are in power today in Russia are white Russian, and my
Mm-hmm.
family's white Russian. And it's a very, very well-known name. My family goes back to the 1300s, and it's
Wow.
just really straight line. I can trace it all back, and it's so I didn't know it at the time. No one told me.
Yeah.
Why would they tell me? I didn't have any business there. But when I announced that I was going there, the first thing she said was, "Why would you go there?"
Mm-hmm.
Why, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's funny how older generations they hold the history, but they don't necessarily, especially when there's trauma around it, share it.
No, absolutely. Why would they?
Yeah, my family, they're neighbors of yours. They're Finland.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Finland is very interesting, and the history is really really in World War II, especially
yeah,
because of the German sub bases were all in the I guess there's a direct coastal symmetry from northern Germany right out to the Atlantic, and it runs past Finland and Norway and Sweden and all that.
yeah.
It goes straight out to the Atlantic.
That's wild.
And
My
yeah, that's how
grandfather
they
used.
brought the submarines in.
Jeez, my grandfather used to say that Finland was the only country to, or the first country to pay back all their debts from World War II.
Yes, probably,
But
probably.
that's the Sisu for you.
Yeah, but they were. I don't think they were neutral.
No, and actually,
They
there was some controversy because
they
you had,
sided with Germany.
yeah, and they had people who had fled Russia through the pogroms, and
Right, right.
then and
And they were
the
giving up.
yeah, and so they
Yeah,
had to actually fight side by side with the Germans, which was really hard because these were all Jewish folks,
right.
and that was a huge. I mean, talk about a rock in a hard place.
Hmm. Yep. But we try to do better and to lead by example and
Well,
to just excel at our craft and our art and what makes us happy.
Well, and I think that, a lot of that has to do with critical thought and compassion and relaying these histories so that we truly can say never again.
I don't think that's possible right now. I would
It's
love to
not.
say that. It's not. I was just out in Portland, Oregon, and that's a really frightening place. Even though I love it and the weed is amazing, and the people that I meet are exceptional, and I'm really loved there. I love it in Portland.
It's
But
beautiful.
let me tell you, they have serious problems.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why such a beautiful place attracts such assholes.
I, what always stymies me about that is I always feel like when people have a lot of hate in their hearts, especially with the racial divide, that it's the biggest it's the biggest swindle ever because they
Hmm.
don't realize it's by design. Because if we actually united more in our socioeconomic interests and similarities, that would it's a diversion. It's a diversion from the
Hmm.
real problems, and that's what really really gets me. And for many years, for well, I still go behind the bar at the shop now, and I'm working on my 8th year working for Apothecarium.
Hmm.
And somebody said to me, I've seen you here since the beginning, and I was like, yeah. He's like, you must see a lot. You must encounter a lot of people, and I'm like, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, well, like what? Oh yeah,
I love.
I love that book. I
Thank
love
you.
that book. But I mean, the biggest thing is that I told him, I said, we have, because he wanted dirt on people, and I was like, that we have similarities. I know that we're more alike than we could never know. Our differences are beautiful. We want to be healthy. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. And we want to be safe. And we all want that. I mean, maybe I sound like a hippie saying that, but like,
No,
that's the truth.
no, not at all. And maybe by what's happening in the world right now, it gives us an opportunity to experience that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think, you know, with life in the time of Corona, it's like we're spending time at home and, you know, we're talking about, you know, cannabis isn't going to cure coronavirus, but it can help us in these times to.
Isn't it too bad?
I know. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Can you see this?
Yes, and I love that. Stop the Donald. Don't let the infection spread. Yes. Yes. Yes to that STD.
Yeah.
But you know, when we're home now, it's like what can we do, you know, as far as like diversions, to comfort ourselves, to quell the anxiety, to give us lift. For those of us who can tolerate cannabis, it's a great part of it. And I really appreciate too with your craft cocktails and mixology that not only is it another way of using cannabis, but it's also, as we're seeing people baking bread and doing all these different, you know.
Yeah, stay-at-home stuff.
Yeah,
and that's what it's written for. That's exactly what it's written for. I mean, and the part that we haven't talked about, it's non-confrontational. If you can go out and smoke a joint, here in New Jersey, everyone knows your business. I don't like smoking a joint out in the street. Someone's going to smell it. You're going to call the police. I'm in the medical program, but why do I have to pull out my card and justify who I am and get put in the system for smoking weed out here in the street? I mean, it's illegal.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So maybe if I had a well-crafted cannabis cocktail made with, you know, a Vietnamese iced coffee, and I THC infuse the condensed milk and pour it into a tall glass and sip it as I'm having a walk. There's enough THC in there to knock down an entire family of rhinoceroses. But it's absolutely delicious. And no one's the worse. And they have no idea what I'm doing.
When did you start applying your mixology skills to cannabis cocktails?
Can I be totally honest with you?
Yeah.
Can I be like only a couple people know this in the world?
This is Radio Misfits Network. You can say whatever you want.
1981, I was at Caravan of Dreams, which is on St. Mark's Place in New York City. And I had a vial of pure LSD. And it ended up into various teapots of apple spiced tea, which were handed out to the entire restaurant.
Wait a minute. You said you never lived an exciting life. That's exciting.
I've lived a very exciting life. I worked at Danceteria. Come on.
Did you? Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Did you, was Madonna there?
Yeah, right in front of me. I was class of 1984.
Oh, right on.
At Danceteria.
Right on.
And John Argento has a club called Zeppelin, a beer pub in I think it's Jersey City, and we're connected together on social media again after not seeing each other for like 10 years or 20 years. It was very interesting to reconnect after that period of time. He looks exactly the same. He was one of the owners of Danceteria, and he's exactly the same.
That's the stuff I love about social media. Being able to like connect with people that you may not have been able to
reconnect.
Or reconnect.
Reconnect. I mean, and since I live in Morristown and he's in Jersey City, I have had a chance of being there. I haven't seen him, but we've spoken, you know, through our social media contacts.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool.
So anyway, so the story was, how did I figure this out?
Yeah.
So I think that apple spiced tea would be a good thing to add LSD to. I probably shouldn't have done that. It was a long time. I don't do that stuff anymore. Anyway, so that was kind of what put it in my head. But really, fast forward to, I don't know, I'd say it's probably 2006, 2007. I was just finishing up with my 20-year career in the corporate world, paying back my dad and grandfather money that I owed them for. It took me 20 years to pay it back, and I started, wasn't going to be in the corporate world anymore, so I knew I wasn't going to be having any drug tests, and I was smoking weed pretty much every day anyway. So I started working with cocktails, and then it's kind of evolved to me because I was down in New Orleans at Tales of the Cocktail. I'd been going down to New Orleans every year for about 10 years because I was involved in the rum business and being a brand ambassador for a boutique rum company that happened to be housed in Russia. So I'd go down to Tales every year. And I was doing a book signing at the Pharmacy Museum on Royal Street. And they just happened to be doing an exhibition of cannabis in the early apothecary. And the early apothecary really was no more than a cocktail lounge because that's what they would do. They would mix drinks and put little preparations of whatever it was. And people would have problems with their gut. They'd get Peychaud bitters or Angostura bitters if they had dysentery or absinthe, or, if they had head lice, the wormwood was really good against, stomach worms or, lice or whatever else. And, so they'd go to their pharmacist to make preparations. But really, one of the ingredients that actually did the healing was cannabis. So the entire exhibition at the Pharmacy Museum, aside from my book signing, which was in the front of the store because they have my books there, was regarding cannabis in the early apothecary. And at that point, I knew exactly what I was going to do. And I had to create the science. I created all the recipes. There's 75 recipes in the book, and they're all mine.
That's awesome.
And they're all delicious, and they'll knock you on your ass.
Oh, and in case listeners, I know some listeners are going to tune in because they have met you or read your book, but for those who haven't, there's 6 books. List them off for us so that they can check it out.
Apothecary cocktails, whiskey cocktails, bitters and shrub syrup cocktails, cannabis cocktails, the craft cocktail compendium. And then in Europe, I have a version of the French market.
I got, when you were in Europe, you had a version of, and then we cut out.
Translated into French.
Oh.
So that's a European issue. I had one around here somewhere. Anyway, but it's a European issue available only in France.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. And when did the Cannabis Cocktails book get published?
2015, I wrote it. I had 1 month to get everything done, the science done, all the recipes written. I think it was out June of 2016.
Mm-hmm. And for people who are at home, because I was gonna get, I thought we had a copy of your book in our boutique, but we were having a hard time getting it from the publisher. Get
in touch with me, and I'll have the wholesale person get in touch with you.
Oh, right on. Good deal. We'll do that then. Mm-hmm. But what are you using as a cannabis base for the cocktails? Are you using tinctures or?
Oh, no. That's a really good question, but no, I don't. And I'll tell you why. A tincture is very bitter, and mine being, I'm a master mixologist, mm-hmm. and by that nature of that word, everything in a craft cocktail or mocktail should be in balance. It should be an amalgamation of flavors, not just one dimension. And when you use tinctures in a craft cocktail, just by the nature of the alcohol level being about 190 proof, it would be the most bitter thing in there, and it would create complete chaos of flavors.
Yeah.
So my drinks are kind of like soup. They're different levels of flavor and of quality. And, sometimes people think, oh, well, it sounds like there's a lot of different ingredients in them. And I say, to a certain extent, you may be right. But what I'm doing now, and, it has been 5 years since I've written the book, my cocktails have no more than 2 or 3 ingredients in them. Mm-hmm. But that was then, this is now. And I think if anyone follows what I'm working on and the projects that I'm doing, they would be pleasantly surprised that I very rarely make drinks that have more than 3 ingredients.
Do you like, when I think about cannabis and cocktails, there are going to be people who are going to be more attracted to things that don't have alcohol in them, and other people are curious about that. And you can do that safely as long as you're aware of not getting crossfaded.
Oh, I love the crossfade. That's the best part. I mean, when I was on Viceland Live and I destroyed them on live TV, they wanted the crossfade. One of the producers said, or one of the actors came to me and they said, we want you to make us a CBD cocktail that we can feel. Now, any jerk knows that there's no such thing as a CBD cocktail that you can feel because there's nothing in it that makes you feel anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complete placebo. I mean, that's the whole thing. People ask me to come to their houses and make, a CBD punch, and they come to me. They say like, "Will I feel anything?" And it's like, ah. So they asked me to be on this TV show called Viceland Live, which has since been canceled. I wonder why.
Right.
But they asked me to make a punch, and I did. It was blood orange. It was barrel bourbon, which is a single barrel craft bourbon from a single distillery, and it's really high end stuff. Roasted blood orange juice with Angostura and turbinado sugar, and then a bottle. And then I used the Pickett's ginger beer syrup as my sweet, and finished it with seltzer water. So it had this beautiful fizz and lift. And then there was like two different types of bitters. I think I used Angostura and I used Fee Brothers lemon bitters. So it had some depth and had some balance, and it was really wonderful. And you're really only supposed to drink a quarter ounce and really only supposed to have one of those every hour. Well, all the staff members had like multiple glasses of it. Every 15 minutes they were drinking down another glass, and suddenly they were on the air and it hit. And they were destroyed on live TV, and I was responsible.
Well, what do you think as far as concerning mixology? Like, what flavors go well with the taste of cannabis?
Oh my God, absinthe, because it's a bad boy. And it's been vilified by history.
I love absinthe.
There's nothing, I mean, where did you say you were located?
I was in San Francisco, but now I'm in Oakland.
Oh, you're in Oakland. Okay. So,
but I'm originally a Yooper. I'm from the Upper Peninsula, Michigan.
Okay, because I was talking to someone the other day about, they were from Chicago, and I said, oh, God forbid you have to mix something with Malort. And they were like, how do you know about Malort? And Malort is the stuff where you drink a drink and you want to fight your dad.
I would stay away from that.
So anyway, anyone who's listening, if they're from Chicago, I know about it. I know about Malort, and I know what it does.
My producer, Ed, will be happy to hear that he's smack dab in the middle of Chicago.
There you go. Yeah, tell him I know about Malort. Anyway, and now you know about it too, because you'll look it up and you'll want to see their commercials, and then you have to see the commercial where the son of the founder is drinking shots of it and getting drunk, and he throws up on himself, and it's so awful.
Oh,
but
God.
it's so amazing. You just want, and comedy like that is so important in a time where people are suffering and dying around us right this very second, and that's why stuff like this is so important. Anyway, so I would mix with absinthe because it has been vilified from history as being the bad boy of the bar, and I would make Sazeracs, and let's see, what did I in my book Cannabis Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics, I infused the absinthe with THC, so it's bad boy meets bad boy and crossfade in a Sazerac.
Nice. And what about
There it is.
flavor? Oh, right on. I see that.
Yeah.
Nice. How about for mocktails? Like, what flavor profiles do you think complement cannabis?
The greatest strength that I just took a long walk and I'm sweaty and I really wanted to get something refreshing in me. And I love infusing THC into condensed milk. You can do it on a double boiler on your stove in 2 hours, but the best ones come out over like 2 to 4 hours. Just don't cook it too long. It'll turn into caramel. But then it's THC infused caramel. But you never want to boil it. It shouldn't be over 160 degrees. So a very, very light simmer, a couple bubbles every so often.
Maybe use your candy thermometer if you can.
Or a regular thermometer. It's not going to ever get that hot. So a candy thermometer would be for hard crack candy. That would be like 300 degrees. No, you don't want to go anywhere near that. It's about 160 degrees for 2 hours. I make sure I decarb my cannabis. That's essential. That activates the THC from THCA. If you're cooking for any long period of time, it's really important because the cannabis never truly vaporizes in the aqueous state. So you have this beautiful infused THC condensed milk, and it lasts like a week in the refrigerator, and I pour it over pancakes or ice cream or THC infused Vietnamese sugarcane juice, freshly crushed sugarcane juice with the THC infused condensed milk. That's just
You must have an amazing pantry and refrigerator.
no, actually, I don't. It's like, if I did, I'd be as big as a house. But it's everything is it's pretty slim. It's slim going. It's all right. I eat what I need to.
You pick it up when you're working with it.
Not really. I'd much rather smoke.
Yeah.
Because the drinks. I have glaucoma, and I just love the way that smoking makes me feel as opposed to drinking. Drinking the strain, drinking the individual strains is nice, and it's effective. Excuse me, just for a second.
Sure.
A drink of water. It's nice and it's effective, but I think at the end of the day, I'd much rather smoke because I get just much better results. I don't get the headaches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's another reason why when we're looking at policy in different states, and I do a lot of education in different states, and it's always interesting when they're developing policy how it's based on state culture and stigma. And so we always have to really illustrate to people why there need to be so many different ways to consume cannabis because, different places will allow different things. And like,
Right.
Inhaling for some people works really well. Eating it works well for some people. And now more and more people are starting to discover drinking cannabis and how, the
Like
effects
this.
come on faster. Oh,
That's
yeah.
the Vietnamese iced coffee with THC infused condensed milk.
Oh, that's
Isn't
beautiful.
that beautiful?
Yeah.
And then I have another one which is really nice. It's Shake It Sugar-Ray, after the famous Grateful Dead song.
Oh,
Shake
uh,
It Sugar-Ray.
did I tell you that my fiance was a member of Further?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so he was on the road with Phil and Bob through the whole run. He sang
wow!
backup for them.
Oh, how fun is that?
Ah.
So this is 2 ounces of cannabis cream made with heavy whipping cream. So it was 60 milligrams of cannabis cream in one drink, 1 scoop of coffee ice cream, ½ ounce of Irish whiskey, ½ ounce of brandy, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, 3 ounces of brewed espresso coffee, and a cup of ice. It's kind of like an egg cream, and you shake it. You shake the hell out of it, so really, really hard, and then that's it at the end.
Wow.
It's a beautiful drink.
That is a beautiful
down
drink.
at there's a bar down in New Orleans called the Aaron Rose, and this is a takeoff of their frozen Irish coffee.
Ooh, is it? Where are they? Are they in the French Quarter?
They're in the French Quarter. Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's pretty down and dirty, but
Yeah.
it's great. The Aaron Rose. In fact, I brought cups from there to Russia with me and left them at the bar show.
Oh,
So.
they must have loved that.
Yeah. And then this thing is kind of interesting. Your bartending people might recognize it.
What is it?
It's employees only in New York City.
Oh, really?
So when I pulled back my sleeve in Moscow, it got me the opportunity of smoking a joint in Red Square, which I took and did. And yeah, so I do have some wild side to me.
Nice. Well, I think we all need that. The balance.
Oh yeah, that was up there with things that Warren should not do.
Yeah, but you've never really lived till you've done a few things that you're not supposed to do, as long as you survive it.
I did. I survived. I came back and I lost my job pretty much promptly. But it was because I wrote Cannabis Cocktails, and rather than extolling the great virtues of the rum that I was representing,
Right.
and I did, and I did to the best of my ability, the popularity and the interest was in this and not that. And the fact that I was, pretty famous from my books overshadowed the fine products that I was out to talk about. And I understand the reasoning why they, at the end of the day, it pushed my career forward. So I'm much happier because of it. But it really was the last time I worked for anyone. I work for myself now.
That's
So it's really cool.
there's
And I write for Forbes, so that's a magic thing.
oh
It
yeah.
really is.
When did you start writing for Forbes?
3 years ago.
3 years ago? What was your
Yeah,
first article?
I wrote about Madeira.
Nice.
I was just looking at it last night. That's very funny. I looked at my first article. It was about Betsy Schuyler and Alexander Hamilton. They lived here in Morristown. Alexander Hamilton courted Betsy Schuyler, and they probably drank Madeira to toast their good fortune.
Ah. What was your first cannabis-related article for Forbes?
That's a good question. I don't recall exactly which one it was. I didn't go back and look at that. You've caught me off guard on that. So
No
I don't know.
worries.
Yeah, I don't recall what it was.
Do you find, what do you like writing more about? Or is there a difference when you're writing about, writing about more about liqueurs and wines and or cannabis?
Actually, like writing about women,
Yeah.
and because I supported women in the corporate world for a great portion of my time that I spent working as an executive assistant, even though I started as a teller, but I was, they took notice of me pretty quickly. So I was not in the branches for very long, a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 5 years, but that was enough. But so I supported many women, and I saw just how hard it was to come up through the sea level and above, and what they went through. And that's why in my writing today, I like focusing on women in the cannabis industry. Especially, I've written about a lot of CEOs, but that's not the point. The point is I'd love to write about female growers and just people who are kicking ass and taking names and doing the best job they can, like my friend Heidi Minks I wrote about, who works for Juva, the cannabis delivery service down in San Jose.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so I wrote about her, and I love writing about, kick-ass women in the business who may not necessarily have PR ability to have, or their hands up saying, look at me, look at me. I meet people along the way, and I like to write about them and have them talk about their strengths and what makes them happy.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. There was a list that just came out recently, and I was grateful to be on it. It was the Green Market Report one, but
Mm-hmm.
I also felt you feel bad. It's actually the only list I ever get on. I'm always like, thank you for seeing me, because, a lot of us are too busy actually doing the work.
Yeah, I know
To
that.
the whole social media PR thing is a lot of work, and it's a job on its own. So if you're really doing a lot of the activism and getting in there and helping people, it can be really hard. And it is one of those things I've seen a lot of conversations about some of the people who do the most work actually get the least noticed, because you
Well,
do
they
have
don't
to,
have their head buried in their telephone.
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I wish there was a way that, well, and it sounds like you're doing it, and I know there are some other people who are very aware of it too. But to be able to highlight those people, because they're actually the ones that are making a lot of the things happen that we should be grateful for today.
I just dig that people have a work ethic.
Yeah.
Male or female. It's so refreshing to see that they have a work ethic and they want to kick ass and take names and get things done, because they realize that if they didn't do the work, who was there to do it? I mean,
Yeah.
no one.
Or do it
And it takes
right.
a lot. I grew up on a farm, and I grew up on a farm in Morris Township, New Jersey, and it's certified organic, and for a time it was biodynamic. And my hands are soft today, but there was a time that they weren't soft. And, and I look back at what my job was, and that was shoveling shit in the stable. And, if I didn't do so well in school, and there was a lot of times that I didn't, that's where I was, you know, supposed to be doing. And I was shoveling shit, because horses don't stop doing what they're doing just because you're not down there, and if you're not shoveling there, you have a problem. So it's something I have a lot of experience in.
Yeah.
And that type of work ethic follows me to today. So it's very refreshing when I get a chance to get out to the West Coast and seeing how hard people work and to achieve. And it's said that there's a lot of money to be made in the business, but no money is made without hard work, and that takes time.
Yeah. And you have to have something real.
Well, or tangible, at
Yeah.
least, and it's tangible into yourself, and it becomes very personal, and that, but especially with people who work in the farms that are north of San Francisco, they're not all back to the earth people, but some of them are, and I have a lot of respect for that because that's they live a organic or a biodynamic lifestyle, and it's not just the farm; it's everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being thoughtful for the earth, and I appreciate that greatly, and have a great deep understanding of it.
I think that you really feel the difference too when you experience different flowers and how they're grown. Like somebody who really cares about what they're doing, they're approaching it biodynamically.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Well, it's a whole system.
Yeah.
It's a whole system. It's how you heat your house. It's what turns on the electricity. It's by solar. It's by, gray water. It's by self-compensating toilets. It's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one thing. It's how everything interconnects.
Right.
And so there are farms that I've come across in California, like Brotherly Love, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and they're biodynamic, and it's a total system. It's not just one part; it's many parts, and that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cannabis that I want to smoke. That's the people I want to talk about. Those are the people I want to write about, and I have, because they really have an ethos, a passion to heal.
Yeah.
And the backstory to that is from war, from trying to heal the PTSD from the injuries to the brain, and they grow all different cushes, and those are the ones that really bring you down and keep you from going out and doing bad things.
Yeah. Well, I think, especially when you've had significant trauma it really helps you understand, like, I don't think people who haven't experienced that understand so much about the slowing down and the taking care of yourself, and that self-care isn't an elitist thing. It's not like going to the spa. It's about creating homeostasis.
It's about being good to yourself.
Yeah. And that is, there's a ripple effect to that.
Mm-hmm. And wellness. Just through wellness. And that's a beautiful mug that you're using, by the way. I meant to compliment you on it.
Thank you. This, my best friend Jessie made it. She's a potter.
I could tell. It looked very crafty.
I have 2 of them, and I treasure them.
Yes. It's a nice color. It's a nice palette.
Yeah, she gave me this one, too. This one I had my CBD tea in. And this was made by another potter, but it's like a kind of a different sort of, whimsical.
I like that. That's kind of Roycraft.
Yeah, and it's got the peach interior to it there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Very nice. You have a lot of cool houses, craftsman houses, where you are.
Oh,
in that area.
Yeah.
I went to High Fidelity recently before all the craziness. I was out actually in Sacramento, and I flew into SFO and rented a car and went to Kermit Lynch to get some wine.
Yeah.
And then I drove to Sacramento. So I'm working on a project. I started a company called Klaus Apothecare. Mm-hmm. And I'm coming out with a beverage, which will be out. I got venture capital financing for 4,400 cans, and my product will be out as soon as maybe May.
Oh, congratulations!
It's a beverage. It's right, and it's out of my book.
Uh-huh.
And there's no alcohol in it. It's a mocktail, and it has Pickett's ginger syrup. Lime juice from France, a little bit of the very, 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 very fine bubble, and 2 different types of bitters, orange and lemon bitters.
Ooh, that sounds wonderful.
It's in a beautiful can. I wish I could show it to you. Let me see. I'm definitely going to show you a picture of the can.
Okay.
Because the artist is a man named John Manis, and he does just absolutely beautiful work. And I can't believe I haven't talked about this yet. So. Bear with
Yeah,
me.
you were holding
I
out
get
on
this up.
me.
I was holding out on you. Absolutely. Well, there was other things to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
There's lots of other things to achieve. And if you have an hour, if I have an hour of your time or thereabouts, I'm going to keep the best until last. So,
Right on.
so let me get the picture of this beautiful, beautiful can. Here it is.
Pull it back a little bit.
There.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This one is called the Bosphorus cocktail. Not the Meserol cocktail. I'm sorry, the Meserol cocktail.
Oh, wow. And how many milligrams are going to be in that?
It's going to be 10 milligrams of live resin,
Uh-huh.
and it has a 3-minute onset, and it really takes you there.
Wow, 3-minute onset.
Yeah, 8.4 fluid ounces live resin. It's mango train wreck is the strain,
Oh,
and you
wow.
can taste the terps. It really jumps out at you. It's really incredible. Mine is as a master mixologist, it can't be one of those listless, stupid seltzers with crappy ingredients in it. This is truly a craft mocktail, unlike anything that's ever been put on the market. This is also my apothecary book in French. I
Oh,
don't know if you can
cool.
see.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, very
So
cool. Are you planning on branching out to some other mocktails in the line as well?
we're starting with one SKU to start. 4,400 cans is not inexpensive.
Right.
It's a big money. So I have to take my time and there it is.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Really
Beautiful.
colorful.
Really colorful. It's really jump out at the shelf, and it's shelf stable.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't need to be refrigerated because it's pasteurized.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And the technology that we use is from a company called Space Station in Sacramento, and they're in the Sacramento area. And their benefit is that they have the technology. There's the logo.
Okay.
They have the technology that, and it's licensed to. They are the ones who own the patent of the can that the THC doesn't stick to.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, they own the technology, and the can I'm using is the one that the THC doesn't stick to.
Oh, that's cool. And it's a resealable can?
I'm not certain what we're using on that as of yet. 8.4 fluid ounces. That should be 2 drinks. So I'm
Yeah.
not certain. That's a good question. I'll have to check that one.
I just love how sophisticated things are getting because I remember back in the day when I had my medical card. Oh, that's really beautiful. So when you're looking at the design of it, what did you tell him to keep in mind?
LSD. Rorschach ink blot tests. I don't know.
Oh, so you're going back to the spiced apple cider days.
Where I left my mind in New York City. I don't know.
It's gorgeous.
I did go to MIT for a year, so no dummies go there, right?
True that.
No dummies. There's another nice.
Oh yeah.
So it just took me longer. It took me 58 years to grow up, and this is a mint julep with THC infused rye whiskey.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty cool. That's great for Derby Day.
Yeah, that would be. I'd have to have like a thimbleful of that.
No, this is good. It's a mint julep made with rye infused THC, rye whiskey infused with THC, and I use Cindy 99. It pairs perfectly with rye.
Cindy 99 is one of my faves.
It is good, especially the rye whiskey.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. See, we're having fun.
Yeah. Okay. I knew we would.
You know what's the best? This is a Shaolin Canagar. I love writing about Canagars. Have you ever had a Canagar?
Oh
You
yeah.
really should look these out. Look, these are from Colorado. The Shaolin.
Oh, I
But
saw that you posted about that
crap.
not too long ago.
Yeah, I brought one down to Florida with me for Benzinga and got a lot of people twisted up. That was good.
That is one of the beauties of our work is going to places where.
Go to places and get people twisted up.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I do love that
won't-
too.
That won't be for a little while, unfortunately. I think we made some grave errors with that one. So.
Yeah. Well, it's. It seems like more and more people. I know I did this yesterday. 2 of two of my dear friends who also work in cannabis, we got together and via Zoom.
Right.
And
You had a virtual sesh.
we had a virtual sesh and just like caught
Oh,
up. Well, we all talked about what we were smoking and
yeah,
what we were doing and how we were feeling, and
yeah,
it was a really nice lift.
yeah.
You know,
That's good.
I'm
But
not
I
used.
miss, but I miss that camaraderie, and I miss the. I don't know. It's hard to explain if you don't smoke weed, and I'm sure that anyone who's listening to this would be laughing deep inside right now, but the fact is that it's a social creature,
It is.
and seshing together is what brings us together, and it's our identity,
Yeah.
and I miss that. I do. I hate smoking alone. I mean, I do, but I do for other reasons. But
Right.
then I'm fortunate that I can write, and especially all of my books I wrote under the influence of cannabis. I would never have been able to get the work done at the level that I believe I write in at this point of my life and at this point of my career. It helps me to focus, and it really does open up my mind, and it helps me relax and float downstream, if you will. And it really makes me a much more cognizant writer and a much more empathetic writer. And I like making you hungry and thirsty, and here's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if more people understood that, and especially when we're getting into policy, like people a lot of times will get upset about how expensive cannabis has become in California
Hmm.
because of taxation. And one of the
Hmm.
things I always tell them is, it's not about getting upset at your bud tender because, they don't control the taxes. But what it is it's
No.
about letting the people know who count on your votes for their jobs that you use cannabis, you're highly productive, and you vote.
Hmm. That's right, and I do. I'm a liberal, and in a place that, even though we have a great number of people who are who are not Republican here, but we're surrounded by ultra conservatism, and it's frustrating, and it's I find it to be a lot of it to be really condescending, but Norval, I just want to just keep my mouth shut and not say anything because I don't need the attention, and I don't want the attention.
Right.
I want to bring good things into the world, not negative things. And I'd rather say something nice about someone than something not nice. And I think that's important in life.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, it's even not everybody has to have the conversations with people who are against it or don't know a lot about it. But I also think that conversation is normalization. Like when somebody who formerly was opposed to cannabis use and finds that it's what gives them relief and it's the only thing
Hmm.
that has, and all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, I need to talk to the people in my circle about this because they need to know that it's not what we thought
That's
it
right.
was in the past.
That's right.
You know, it's that's the
That's
stuff.
exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's what got me disowned by my family. I mean, I come from something that's greater than life, and they don't want anything to do with me, and
Yeah.
I'm on my own. So it's very frustrating, and all of the things and all the successes that I've had, I have no one other, my wife, to share it with. Really, I mean, it's just, that's it. That's the whole thing of it because of cannabis. And I have a stepbrother who was put away into a drug rehabilitation, therapy place that was guarded 24/7 because he smoked weed by my
Wow.
mother. I mean,
Wow.
that's just unbelievable. I could never forgive her for that, and I'm sure I don't know how he does, and that's the way of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel very lucky that I didn't have to encounter that. My mom, well, I started being open about my cannabis use when I had cancer. And
Hmm.
my mother's an oncology researcher. So she was,
Okay,
yeah, she was,
so you had to say,
yeah. I was like, okay, so, but now, we'll have the conversations, and she's like, I hope that you're not smoking a lot. I hope you're cutting down your use.
oh,
And I'm like, listen, Barbara,
that's right.
I go to work every day.
I'm
I'm
a functioning
productive.
human being. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
functioning human. Normally, what I say is, I've written 6 books. What have you done?
Yeah. Right.
I've written 6 books, and I've traveled all over the world for my craft, and I can teach you about boutique rum and why the dark rum on the shelf is probably the one that's 2 days old because it's been colored with caramel and tons of added sugar to make it sweet, thinking that it's a expensive old rum when it's really not. And the old one is the white one that's on the shelf because that's the one that's carefully blended with multiple years of different, exotic rums. And even though there's no color in it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't the oldest.
Yeah. We got to trust your experts.
Yeah.
So you got an exciting new drink that's going to be on the market soon.
Yes.
What are other thoughts for the future? Do you have any other things that are coming up?
Oh my God! We really have to get our country healthy.
Yeah.
We have to be we have to come through some bad shit, and I'm in no place to say what we have to do or what we can do or what we can't do. But when the time comes to go forward, I'm ready to change my life to go forward and to really, this is Klaus, apothecary, Klaus cares.
Yeah.
Klaus wants to do better by you. And if you could enjoy one of my beverages and say, wow, this is really refreshing and delicious, and maybe tell your friends and buy another one. And, that's all I care about. I really want to just make things different than those listless seltzers that clog the shelves. I mean, everything is fizzy water and dubious ingredients and tons of sugar. And my drinks aren't like that. I on my Skype, it says very simply, I'd like to help you drink less sweet. Make things that are less sweet. And if you can do that, then you're going to be a healthier drinker. And booze is all sugar anyway. And even if you're drinking mocktails, we have a responsibility to make things a little less sweet. There's so much sugary sweetness on the market, and I can do better.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people with diabetes.
Oh, sure, absolutely, and that's pretty prevalent. And but that really wasn't my goal. My goal was to make drinks that you want to drink again, as opposed to something you say, yeah, it was good, but it was just too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't take that. That's not me. I'm a chef. I make things. I'm a cook. I started as a dishwasher. I worked my way up by necessity. I needed a job. I was working in television in New York City, and it was not sustainable. And I took a job in Portland, Maine, working in public broadcasting and public television. That wasn't sustainable. So I really needed a job, and it was in the winter, and I didn't have any place to look for a job, and I became a dishwasher, and I washed a lot of dishes and pots and pans, but I didn't go hungry. And for all the cold and the raw and the flu and everything else that was Portland, Maine in the 1980s, I was eating well and learning about culinary arts and working my way up the line and becoming the Warren that I am today. It didn't come easily.
Yeah.
I've worked since I was 14. I worked in wine stores and all sorts of stuff.
Well, I mean, I think that's another reason why you're on the cutting edge of what you do, because you work hard and you care, and you've experienced a lot.
Yeah, I've experienced a lot of busting my ass. and when I was cleaning out, at 50 years old, I went over to the Ryland Inn in White House, New Jersey. And I had written a couple articles for New Jersey Monthly and run restaurant reviews and really torn people new butts. And so I wasn't to be trusted. But my friend Anthony Bucco was the executive chef. And I'm a trained chef, and I went to culinary school and ACF apprenticeship and the whole thing. But I was old, 50 years old at the time. And the kitchen is filled with 22, 23, 25-year-olds, and they would run circles around me. So I didn't want to be a cook, but I had been writing about liquor. I really, I was kind of experimenting with mixology in my head. I still hadn't, done any cannabis mixology. That was another several years up the road. But I needed a job. So his bartender is a guy named Chris James, who's become my mentor and close friend. And Chris said, I don't need any bartenders. And you're not a bartender. You may have written about liquor, but you're not a bartender. And he said, I don't need any bartenders. What I need is a bar back, because the guy that was going to be doing my bar backing split on me. He didn't show up to work and I need to get work done. I need you to be, if you want a job here, it's not going to be easy. They're not going to sugarcoat it for me. Mm-hmm. And they worked me. They busted my ass. Yeah. They broke me. It was in military parlay. They made me cry.
Oh.
At 50. They did. They absolutely did. I did everything in that restaurant, and I tried to do as much of it as I could with a smile. But really, at the end of the day, what it made me is the person that I am today.
Yeah.
So I have all the indebtedness in the world at 50 years old, and now that I'm 58, I look back at that. I can keep up with them absolutely at this point.
Yeah.
I'm in better shape today than I was at 30, and it's magnificent. It's really incredible, and I have them absolutely to thank for it. And now that I don't drink hard liquor anymore, my belly has everything to thank for it because it's not filled up with with sugary whatever. And I'm when I was doing a lot of drinking, and that was like all the time. It was part of my job, but it's much healthier not to.
Yeah.
I feel much better.
That's awesome. I'm a firm believer in getting to the basics to learn about things. Like I left it was after cancer. I had been in middle management, and I started working at a dispensary,
Mm-hmm.
major cut in pay.
Oh, sure.
But that was one of the things when people ask me, oh, you do all this education, you're a public education officer, how do I get a job like yours? I'm like, you get behind that bar and you work and you learn.
Yeah, that's right. And you deal with people and you learn how to, not everything is stoners coming for you, to get wasted. It's people who are really, have epilepsy or have, complex nerve issues or really just need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And to be empathetic to what's going on with them. And that's why the cannabis drinks are so appropriate, because you really can dial in the strain and the effect that you're looking for. And I think Mango Trainwreck is a classic example of a strain that tastes good with the other ingredients that I use and will give a desired effect that's predictable every single time. We're using the nanotechnology, which is really important stuff. I'm not a scientist, even though I do have that sort of that background. But that's from another reason for another day.
Yeah. We'll talk about some nanoemulsion.
Yeah, the nanoemulsion, but really it goes back to the snake oil stuff. And my grandfather was in the patent pharmaceutical industry, and he manufactured a vitamin tonic that made him a very successful man, and it was called Geritol. And you're probably too young for that.
No, I remember Geritol.
Yeah, it was for iron poor blood, and my mom used to give me Geritol Junior, which was 25% alcohol or 50 proof, and I think Geritol was like 50% alcohol.
Well, that'll make you feel groovy.
If you could sell pure USP alcohol in a pharmacy and package it as a vitamin tonic, and you can become successful in life. So so I'm not taking that path. And the FTC and the FDA sued my grandfather for the most at the time in U.S. history. Really? For making snake oil. Yeah. So that's why I really when people ask me to write about CBD, and they do all the time, and if they irk me in any way, I tell them about my grandfather. I say, my grandfather was put out of business by the FDA and the FTC. Yeah, it's the biggest fine in U.S. history. I think I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Usually they shut up.
I've had people ask me to write about CBD, and then they also in the next breath they ask me, and please don't editorialize. And I'm like, but there's so much to say around that.
But what I want to talk about is, how do you dose? I mean, if you can tell me how to dose the shit, I'll shout about it to the highest mountain. But there's no dosage. There's no nothing.
Well,
there's no nothing.
I think
the emperor wears no clothes.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because what people aren't talking about as much is that, because I do a lot of trainings with healthcare professionals, and they always want to know dosage with cannabinoids. Right. And I always say it's not so much about the dosage, but creating the safe container for experimentation, because we all metabolize it differently.
Yes, exactly. And the entourage effect is different. And the other thing, I'm sorry for cutting you off,
no,
but the thing that I find most ironic is that there's CBD from hemp, and then there's CBD from cannabis. and they're two different things entirely. And I know for my glaucoma, I'm supposed to because I had my DNA tested for this. I had my cannabis DNA tested for an article that I never ended up writing. But but I know what strains I'm supposed to take and what's good for my eyes. And they say it's high CBD, low THC, but you can't get that in hemp. And that's the thing that's missing in the conversation. It's that there is a difference between CBD from hemp, and there's a difference between the strains of the cultivars that we take recreationally or medicinally from cannabis, from the cannabis plant, from the indica, from the sativa, whatever it is that you're using. I mean, I'm just, preaching to the choir here. But to the greater world, like the gas station buyer of CBD, why should they buy that? Why should they trust that? And what's in there? And where was the hemp grown? And was it grown in heavy metals or in China or what? There's no way of knowing, and there's no white paper, and it goes back to rum. There are no rules in rum. Rum can be made from all different ingredients, and most of them are pretty awful.
Yeah.
And the really fine rums are made with sugarcane juice, not molasses, because you have to start the fermentation within 4 hours of it being cut down. Otherwise, it sours. Otherwise, it goes into this big slurry to make molasses, to make sugar, and it's like total poison. It's made with awful things. Oof. And that's what most rum is on the market. But there are no rules, so we don't know how really awful it is. And not to say that all rum is awful, but the dichotomy that I'm drawing is that, as in rum, there's a lot of awful rum. There's also a lot of awful everything else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that the minute, I always tell people, if you're really wedded to trying just pure CBD, you can get that at a dispensary where you know that it's been tested, where
That's
it's
right.
come from.
It's pure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been tested. That's the most important
That
part.
is, because you don't know what you're getting. And it is the plant is a bioaccumulator. So you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy metals.
Yeah.
They're not checking to see what pesticides are being used for the stuff because it's industrial hemp, and that's what people aren't getting.
Exactly. They don't get the conversation with that. We used to have a sailboat, and I remember my stepfather hated the nylon rope that they had on the boat, and the lines were incredibly expensive. I mean, it would be several $1,000s to have enough line for the sailboat. And the nylon lines would break all the time because they were just not meant to hold against the salt water. They would deteriorate. The lines that allowed this world to be, discovered were made of hemp.
Right.
And hemp is why we have a world today, because the early sailboats, the sailing vessels that went across the Atlantic, they didn't have nylon ropes. How did they make rope? They didn't have the technology for cotton. Cotton doesn't last long in salt water. Nope. It dissolves. The only thing that doesn't dissolve, in fact, gets stronger, is hemp. And when a hemp line breaks, all you have to do is make 4 little cuts, wind it together like this, and it becomes stronger than when it was one piece. And that's why the world was discovered when it was. And what fueled the sailors was rum.
Yeah.
And what they put in the rum casks to keep it dry was either tobacco and cannabis, and the casks would keep, the below deck was a wet, awful place. So where do they keep things dry, or quote unquote dry? And that would be in a cask, in an old rum cask.
Yeah.
And it would be used for ballast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the ship would flip right over.
See, rum and cannabis.
And cannabis. I should write a book about that.
You should. You totally should. Well,
yeah.
We better get going. Like I said earlier, I could talk to you all day, and we should do this again. I would love for you to come back again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was fun.
Oh,
you're fabulous.
So are you. Thanks so much, Warren. So please, everybody, check out Warren's books. They're amazing, as is he, and and it's cannabis cocktails, mocktails, and tonics if you're looking for the cannabis-related book. But otherwise, he has all these wonderful mixology books. And also keep an eye out for his articles on Forbes. And I think you write for other places besides Forbes as well, right?
Not anymore. I used to write for a ton of them, but, I got tired of being turned down.
Yeah, I think we can all understand that one.
If I don't need to worry about someone, telling me my stuff isn't good enough, I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't need that. I'd much rather just write for Forbes. It's great because I have the keys to the kingdom. I know what my swim lane is. I love writing in it, and I can put up the pieces as I see fit. And no one tells me, aside if they want to fire me, I guess they could. But the point is, they really don't tell me what to write about, and I do what I love. And
That's
it's
awesome. That's awesome. Well, I always enjoy reading your articles. So thank you so much. And everybody, please join us for next month. We'll have another great guest. Stay safe, stay home, be compassionate, be kind. Thank you so much.